In this video, I'd like to show you how to download a subset of the 2021 Census PUMF file. So to start with, we go to Odyssey and search for Individuals File 2021 Census of Population in Canada, Public Use Microdata File PUMF for the census year of 2021. If you click Explore Variables, it will take you to the page showing you the entire set of 144 variables, where you can look at summary statistics, the categories of each variable, and the original census question that gives rise to the variable. Now, if you look up here, download, click that arrow down, will show you the options. Either you can download a subset, the entire original file, the file in tab delimited format, or a particular format. I think this is for the app R, and also the metadata describing the census data file. So you can choose any one of these. And in particular, in this video, we want to download a subset. To start with, I want to use this data file to analyze household characteristics, let's say in the Toronto Census Metropolitan Area, the CMA. So in other words, I really need a variable, CMA, so that eventually from the downloaded dataset, I can isolate only those who live in Toronto. So scroll down, you find this variable CMA, click that. If you look at the summary statistics, the mean is 722. This is a meaningless number. Minimum 205, maximum 999. What does it mean? It is meaningless because this is a categorical variable. Take a look at the categories. They are by the name of the CMAs. And if you look down to the table, the categories are labeled as 205, 399, 421, 462, 499, and Toronto has a value of 535. So if we see a mean value of around 700, this category doesn't particularly exist, but the mean value lies between 799 to 825. It means probably on average, people, it doesn't really make sense, but let's look at the median. So if we look at the median, which is 602, which means half of the population would be living to the east of Winnipeg and half of the population probably living to the west of Winnipeg. That's what it means. All right, so we need the CMA variable to eventually isolate those respondents in the census questionnaire who live in Toronto. Now, what are the variables of interest to me? Here, I'm just using Toronto residential properties or residents, the demand for housing as an example. What variables of interest to you depends on what question you want to ask in your market analysis. So to start with, I like to know age. You might not be interested in it, but for me, I'm interested in age. I also want to know whether they live in condominium, as well as I want to know how far they commute to work. Now, it's not about where they work, whether they are commuting to downtown or not. It is just commuting distance. In other words, they can be commuting to Markham, they can be commuting to Barrie, or to Etobicoke, or to downtown. So it really has no particular place, but is simply a measurement of distance. Other variables on the second page, I'm interested in employment income, and I'm also interested in average household size, how many people there are in a household. Perhaps there are some other variables about income, education, language, but in this illustration, I want to look at, let's say, tenure here, whether they are owners or renters, and if they are owners, what is the self-reported housing values that homeowners estimate? This is not a market price, Market price are real transactions in the market. Self-reported homeowners value is how much do you think your house is worth to you. The last page will show you some other weight variables. For now, we are going to use the same universal weight 1 in 37 for our census weights. So once we have selected the variables we want, go to this download, click download subset. It is tab delimited. It will take about a minute for it to finish downloading. Now the download has completed and I have moved the file to a directory that I work with. So let's open this file in Excel. So if you go to Excel, File, Open, and go to where you store the file. In my case, it is in my teaching folder. For market analysis, it is my demo data. And check all files, not just Excel file. And then my census individual file that I just downloaded, it's right there. So open it. It will ask you what format is it. It is delimited. So click next. This is tab delimited. Click that and next. Looks okay. Finish. There you go. So this is the data file that we just downloaded. It's a subset of the entire census consisting with only the variables we have chosen. CMA, age group, whether it's a condo or not, distance commuting to work, employment income, average household size, tenure, and if it's an owner, what is the estimated self-reported house value. So to start with, I like to give you some idea how to clean the data set. So in order to do it, let me save this file as where it belongs, but then in a particular format, which is the Excel workbook. Otherwise, whatever you work on the data set, especially with formula, they will not be saved. So we need it to be saved in the Excel format, XLSX. So go to where you want to save it, save as Excel file. There you go. To clean the data set, number one, you will realize that we are only interested in the Toronto CMA. If you recall, going back to the website, for CMA, let's go back to the variable CMA. Here, CMA, right there. Look at the definition. These are by numerical category. If I'm interested in Toronto, I just want those respondents with 535. So looking back at our data set, it has a lot more other responses than 535. This is coming from the entire data set with more than 980,000 observations altogether. So one way to filter out or to extract only those living in Toronto is to use data filter. Then if you click CMA, right now everything is selected. Deselect everything and choose only 535. Click OK. So now we are down to just those observations in the Toronto CMA. As you can see, these are all 535. It's only showing, but the data set still consists of many other observations. So what I do is open a new sheet, rename it as Toronto CMA. So going back to the original, select all these observations filtered by Excel to be only 535. Control C or Command C if you are using an MacBook, and then Control C, Control A, Control C will copy. Go to the new worksheet we've created, Control V or Command V, and paste the observations. Now you can see that we are only down to 165 observations. So these are the Toronto observations we'll be working with. And if you don't mind, you can always keep the original data set here. For me, for illustration, I want to keep the file small. Let me delete the original data that I have downloaded. Delete it. So now save as my Excel file, not as a tab file. And then in the next video, I'm going to show you how to clean and analyze the data.